Hello, my name is Sonali and I welcome you all to the Sunday special episode of Around the World in 7 Days. Can you recall the biggest reason for the Russian attack on Ukraine in February 2022? The primary reason cited was related to Ukraine's expressed desire to join the North Atlantic Treaty Organization or NATO, a US-dominated military alliance. The president of Ukraine, Volodymyr Zelensky, was continuously advocating for its NATO membership, whereas Russia was adamant that Ukraine should give up its insistence on NATO membership. Ukraine remained steadfast in its aspiration to join the organization. To safeguard its interest and security in the region, Russia attacked the eastern region of Ukraine. Russia's concern was that Ukraine's membership in NATO could expose it to the potential harm from America, given its military capabilities and weaponry. You may ask whether Ukraine has now given up on the intention to join NATO. The answer is no. In fact, recently the annual NATO summit took place in the Baltic country of Lithuania, where many other leaders of America, France, Britain, Germany and NATO participated in it. Simultaneously, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky also participated. In this meeting, Ukraine formally expressed its intention to become a member of NATO. Its demand was not yet accepted. However, NATO has assured all possible assistance to Ukraine during the conflict with Russia. In such a situation, the big question is why Ukraine wants NATO membership. The second question is that why Ukraine is refrained from joining NATO despite receiving substantial support and assistance from the alliance and Western countries. We will discuss these questions during our discussion, but let us first know about NATO. NATO, that is the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, was established on April 4, 1949. 12 founding countries signed this treaty in Washington, USA. Therefore, this treaty is also known as the Washington Treaty. It is an intergovernmental military organization. Its headquarters is located in Brussels, the capital of Belgium. At present, the number of its member countries is 31. NATO is a military alliance comprising countries from Europe and North America, as it consists of member nations from these two continents. Finland was added as a member country in 2023, which is the latest country to join the organization. This group works on the principle of collective defense. This means that an attack on any one member country would be considered an attack on all the member countries. Its primary objectives are to foster innovation and promote adaptability, while also encouraging the production of equipment aimed at addressing both existing and potential threats. It also aims to create a sense of solidarity and cohesion among the member states and to ensure lasting peace in Europe based on common values of individual liberty, democracy, human rights, and the rule of law. At the same time, it is also among their objectives to protect the territory of their member countries and try to reduce the crisis. Now the question is why Ukraine wants to join this organization. In fact, Ukraine has been associated with NATO since 1992 as a partner. Ukraine has been given a forum by NATO to discuss security concerns since the establishment of the Ukraine-NATO Commission in 1997. As a result, Ukraine did not achieve formal NATO membership. However, the relations between NATO and Ukraine were definitely bolstered and reinforced. It was only in 2008 at the Bucharest summit that NATO promised to admit Ukraine into the organization. Due to no concrete steps being taken in this direction, Ukraine has not yet become a formal member of NATO. But why does Ukraine aspire to join NATO? Ukraine is facing the problem of succession in the eastern region bordering Russia. The campaign for independence from Ukraine has been going on in Luhansk and Donetsk in the Donbas region. In fact, Russia has been supporting this separatist insurgency. Pro-Russian armed groups had captured these areas along the Russian border. The majority of Russian-speaking individuals and Russian tribes reside in these states. In April 2014, with the support of Russia, the rebels had taken control of government buildings in both these areas. To get rid of these separatist campaigns, Ukraine wants to come under the umbrella of NATO. However, Russia strongly opposes this stance. Russia is aware that Ukraine's accession to NATO could entail confronting all NATO member countries. Russia knows that if Ukraine gets NATO membership, it will not be able to succeed in its plan. It will have to stop its activities against Ukraine, otherwise NATO countries will become its enemies. Second, Russia sees Ukraine joining NATO as a potential threat to its borders and an encroachment into the core of its sphere of influence. It fears that if Ukraine becomes a part of NATO, the security organization might attempt to exert control over its country. This is the reason why Russia has been opposing the inclusion of Ukraine in NATO. Interestingly, Russia seems to be successful in its plans so far because NATO countries have not yet included Ukraine in their organization. Now you may ask why. The war between Russia and Ukraine that started last year is still going on. In such a situation, NATO countries assert that amid the ongoing war, it is not feasible to include Ukraine as a member of the alliance. US President Joe Biden has also said that there is a need to end the ongoing Ukraine war with Russia first. Only then can NATO think about including Ukraine. If Ukraine is included in the middle of the war, it may increase the tensions between Russia and the rest of the countries. It will affect the rest of the world. Secondly, Russia has already been propagating that Ukraine wants to join NATO so that it can put pressure on Russia. In such a situation, if Ukraine is included in NATO during the war, Russia would be able to convince the global community that it was already anticipating it and finally it has happened. This can give a big boost to Russia's propaganda. Nonetheless, it will be interesting to observe the duration of Ukraine's wait to become a NATO member. Now it is the turn of this program's Sunday special segment in which we will delve into some other significant international news. The upcoming Johannesburg summit scheduled for August 22 to 24 has sparked discussions due to the absence of Russian President Vladimir Putin. However, with the mutual consent of all BRICS member countries, Vladimir Putin will attend the summit to be held in South Africa via video conferencing instead of attending it in person. Russia will be represented in the conference by Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov, who has assured that the participation of the Russian president in the summit would be full. Whereas the International Criminal Court or ICC has issued an arrest warrant against Putin for Russia's alleged illegal deportation of Ukrainian children. It is worth noting that South Africa is a signatory country of the ICC. Recently, Russia has announced that it is cancelling the implementation of the Black Sea Initiative Agreement. This agreement facilitated the export of food grains and fertilizers from the port of Ukraine during the ongoing war. In fact, the Black Sea Initiative was agreed between Russia, Ukraine, Turkey, and the United Nations in July 2022 in the city of Istanbul and ensured the safe movement of over 32 million tons of food items through Ukrainian ports. In addition, Russia has withdrawn the security guarantee for ship movements in the northwestern part of the Black Sea. India has supported for the United Nations efforts to continue the Black Sea Grain Initiative and expressed hope for a swift resolution of the current impasse. In the past, the United States had deployed a nuclear-armed ballistic missile submarine in South Korea. The deal was one of the several signed by the presidents of the US and South Korea in April in response to North Korea's growing nuclear threat. At the same time, South Korea's Defense Minister Lee Jong-sup said that the submarine visit shows the tremendous capability and attitude of the allies against North Korea. The main purpose of this submarine is to act as a nuclear deterrent to further bolster deterrence against North Korea's nuclear threats. South Korean and American officials held a meeting in Seoul where they issued a joint statement declaring any nuclear attack by North Korea against the United States or its allies is unacceptable and will result in the end of the North Korean regime. So that was all for today. See you in the next episode. But before leaving, let's note down a practice question based on today's coverage. Why does Ukraine, a European country, want to join the US-dominated NATO?